After weeks of speculation, it looks like Australians will be heading to the polls on the 3rd of May. We're expecting Prime Minister Anthony Albanese to make the trip to Government House and kickstart a 5-week campaign within hours.
The opposition leader Peter Dutton has made his pitch to voters in his budget reply speech, setting up a battle over cost of living and power bills. With Labor holding a majority of just 3 seats and the coalition needing to win 19 to govern in a majority, there's every possibility that we're heading for a hung parliament come the first weekend in May. Well, the ABC's national political lead, David Speers, is up early and with us in Canberra. David, good morning.
Very good morning.
So, first things first, how are we expecting this morning to unfold?
Well, the traditional drive from here at Parliament House down the road, not a long drive, to Government House in Yarralumla, where the Prime Minister will quite early this morning be visiting Sam Mostyn, the Governor-General, to set this election date, dissolve Parliament, issue the writs. This is an early part of the day for this to be happening. Normally it's, at a more amenable hour, they would sit down for perhaps a bit of a cup of tea and scones. But apparently this is all going to happen in the next couple of hours. So perhaps well timed for breakfast TV, it would seem. And then the Prime Minister returns here after a short meeting with the Governor-General for a press conference to lay out, to announce the election date for the 3rd of May and lay out the agenda that he wants to take to voters in this campaign.
David, speaking of that agenda, what's the campaign likely to be fought on?
Look, I think initially we're going to see the contest fought over tax, given we're coming out of a budget week where the government's offered a modest but ongoing tax cut that the opposition's opposing, and Peter Dutton instead offering this more immediate but temporary fuel excise relief. So I think that'll be the main focus initially, but we know there are quite big differences at this election between the two sides when it comes to energy in particular. Peter Dutton's nuclear power plan and a plan that he discussed a bit last night. We can come to this about gas as an interim, more gas in the market. So I think that is a big difference on offer at the election. Our approach to defence spending, Peter Dutton didn't actually put the detail on this last night, but he will during the campaign announce more defence spending, and in a time of heightened concerns about the international outlook, that I think will be a concern for voters. But then you've also got things like public service job cuts, work from home rules and so on. And look, health, Labor's really trying to keep a focus on health, a big issue for voters. Housing's a big issue as well. So look, a lot of big issues at stake in this campaign.
David, it's good to see the PM thinking of breakfast TV ratings and getting things done early. He's probably also leaving a bit of time in his day to head out and about to a couple of electorates as well. Do we have any idea where he's going to be really focusing on, which seats he needs to sandbag, which parts of the country he needs to win over?
Look, we call it the magical mystery tour, James, as you well know. The journos who are travelling, including our own, with both campaigns, really have no idea when they step on board the bus or the plane where they're going to end up. They keep the details so closely, tightly held. They don't want the other side or any protesters finding out exactly what their plans are. But we know where this election will be won and lost, like every election, is in those marginal seats. And this time around, a lot of the attention will be in Victoria in particular, a lot of unpopularity around the state Labor government there, and also the coalition hold very few seats there. It's all upside gain for them in this election. New South Wales is a bit of a similar story around the Central Coast, the western suburbs of Sydney, and the South Coast as well, seats like Eden Monaro and Gilmore. Queensland's always important in an election. Again, for Labor, it's all upside there. They hold very few seats in the Sunshine State. WA matters as well. Labor won majority government really because of their wins, their gains in the West, so they need to hold those seats. A couple of seats in northern Tasmania too. So wherever you look, there will be plenty of campaign attention. But I think Victoria and New South Wales, the two big states, will be where we see most of the action.
David, switching to the opposition, the coalition started unveiling some policy last night in the budget reply speech, which you talked about, but calling the election now is going to take a bit of the shine off of that, won't it?
Funny that. It's a little bit cheeky and quite strategic from Anthony Albanese to, make it clear ahead of last night's news bulletins across the country that the election would be called today, and that quickly saw the attention shift to the election campaign beginning, took a bit of shine off Peter Dutton's budget reply speech, and then, doing all of this morning, when normally we'd be sitting here talking about that budget reply. Instead, it's the beginning of the election campaign. So look, yes, he doesn't want Peter Dutton getting much spotlight, but what we did hear last night from the opposition leader was that plan for the fuel excise cut, cutting the excise in half, but then also talking about his plans on gas in particular. Look, it is a little complicated how the market works, but he basically is saying the big LNG exporters will have to keep more of this gas in Australia, up to 100 petajoules. Now, he's calling it a reservation policy for the East Coast. It's technically not quite, but exactly how he'll convince them to do this with the threat of penalties, for example, is still a little unclear, and the industry itself has big concerns about this. Nonetheless, his priority is getting more gas into the market. He says that will help bring down power prices until nuclear power comes along in some decades from now.